It's underway in Milwaukee. Last night, former President Trump announcing Senator J.D. Vance as his running mate, his first appearance since the assassination attempt.
GOP delegates were electrified by their first glimpse of the former president, who pumped his fist into the air as he walked into the hall, a bandage covering his right ear. Missouri Party Chair Nick Myers.
I feel like the hand of Providence must be on President Trump.
Tonight's convention program theme, Making America Safe Once Again, with a focus on illegal immigration, violent crime, and deaths from drug overdoses. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Milwaukee.
President Biden is on the campaign trail today. He's in Las Vegas. It comes as a draft letter is circulating, calling for the Democratic National Convention to delay the early virtual roll call on President Biden's official nomination. And much of the country remains locked in a heat wave. Along the East Coast, volatile storms could also be in the mix. This is ABC News.
Summer is heating up, just like the deals at Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged steaks to juicy burgers, Omaha Steaks is your summer grilling headquarters. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale at omahasteaks.com for exclusive, unconditional money-back guaranteed packages starting at $99. Plus, get an extra $10 off with promo code QUALITY at checkout. Visit omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY for an extra $10 off. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale today, before these deals go up in smoke.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. A letter in your mailbox says you could save money bundling your home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. You saw it after your teenager backed the car into the mailbox. Dumb news. A new mailbox, basically a box on a stick, costs up to $400. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and go with paperless mail instead. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Here we go! From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex, this is the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derry. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a hot Tuesday. Holy cow. You go outside and it is downright suffocating. There's your weather forecast. Let's get right into it. Let's start in Murfreesboro with Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm good, George. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Did you watch the home run stuff last night?
I watched a few minutes of the home run stuff. Who ended up winning? I know that Bobby Witt made the finals. I know that my guy, Pete Alonso, that I talked about, he didn't even sniff it.
Yeah, that was shocking.
Shocking.
So the winner was Teoscar Hernandez from the Dodgers. Bobby Witt missed by about that much on a drive that would have tied it. It was an interesting deal. The most interesting part being the most hideous national anthem I've ever heard. With that in mind, let's bring Billy Derrick in. Billy, I don't know if you've seen the story, but the young lady who sang apparently was drunk and has checked into some sort of rehab center, which does beg the question, does anybody at MLB have a brain?
Well, I don't know.
Could they not see going in that something wasn't right?
That's my question. I mean, did anybody talk to her 5-10 minutes before and check on her and make sure she was good? That's what I'm still kind of fishy on that. But yeah, that was bad.
What do you do though? What do you do at that point? Like if you know that she's
that's true.
Wasted, what do you do? I mean, you go with a plan B?
I think you tell her to hit the exits, and then I think you get a taped national anthem if you have to.
Or just get Chuck Morgan.
You know what? Right. We may talk to Chuck about that at some point. Crazy deal. Billy, why don't you give us a quick update, and then we'll go right to Dallas.
Let's do it. It's brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. MortgageLadyUSA.com is the website, or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Just mentioned it. Teoscar Hernandez becomes the first Dodger to win the Home Run Derby crown. Danny's pick. So who would have thought? Other than Dan, he was plus 1,200 too. So congrats to Teoscar, and he will start tonight in center field for the National League in the All-Star game as well. 7 o'clock first pitch tonight on Fox. Is that game a pick'em tonight, George? I think I saw.
I think it's right at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So All-Star game tonight. Also, the British Open this weekend, and Tiger Woods at his press conference. Not sure if anybody saw this, but he responded to a couple of haters who say he shouldn't be playing in the Open Championship anymore. Take a listen.
To almost follow up on that, you've given so much to this game, you've given so much to this championship, but there was comments last week from Colin Montgomery who said, why is he here, he should retire, there's no point to this. Do you feel that's a bit hurtful and you've earned the right to make the decision when you decide?
Well, as a past champion, I'm exempt till I'm 60. Colin's not. He's not a past champion, so he's not exempt. So he doesn't get the opportunity to make that decision. I do.
That's what I mean. You've earned that. You've deserved it.
So when I get to be at his age, I can still make that decision when he doesn't.
I don't know who Colin Montgomery is, but
you're not. You don't know who Colin Montgomery is.
I don't know. I thought he was talking about Colin Morikawa at first, but I heard Montgomery. I'm not sure.
Montgomery. Yeah, Montgomery was a guy that is a European player that. He won a lot of tournaments over in Europe, but came over here and couldn't get the job done any on the PGA Tour. So I'm with Tiger. Hey, keep your mouth shut. Know your role, Colin.
What Tiger did there, Billy, I'm going to interpret. He told Colin to kiss his butt.
That's right. I loved it. That's awesome.
I love that. So saw that earlier today. British Open this weekend. We'll see if Tiger can play better than he has. A little NFL piece. Brandon Ayuk of the 49ers has requested a trade. Other teams that have reached out to the Niners have been told the team has no intention of trading him. So this is going to get messy here. He's got 1 year left on his rookie deal. He's looking for big money like A.J. Brown and St. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. So, Kelly, I don't know what happens there. But he's a damn good receiver, though.
I know what happens is he's going to cut his nose off to spite his face, and he's probably going to sit out until he comes to the realization, I can't make this anywhere else. I might as well sign the tender.
The tender.
Well, either that or he can go to Canadian Football League.
Because you can bet one thing, the 49ers are not going to trade him. That's not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
One more piece to kind of lead into Billy's Media Days report. Earlier this morning, Brett McMurphy reported that the Big Ten and the SEC are unlikely to add Florida State if they leave the ACC and the ACC survives. He said they don't want Florida State because adding the Seminoles doesn't make financial sense. There's no desire to expand, and they've been a disruptive partner. So some interesting Florida State stuff this morning from Brett McMurphy, but I know we got a lot of SEC to get into in
disruptive
Dallas.
Partner.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know what that's about.
I'd like to see them go on the free agent market and see who comes and gets them, because somebody will.
Sure. That's a dadgum good brand.
That's right.
With a tomahawk. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Dallas, to the Omni Hotel in downtown Dallas, and say hello to our Billy Jones from SEC Football Media Days. Billy, look at me. It looks like you're looking somewhere else. And tell me what's going on.
About that, George. Hoping I'm not getting the label of...
No, you're good. You're good now.
I said, George, I'm glad I wasn't introduced with the label of disruptive partner. Glad I wasn't given the label of disruptive partner, although I might have just earned it on my way in. Hope you're doing well, George. How are you guys?
I'm good. Tell me what's going on today.
Yeah, well, Tennessee came out today. First time hearing from Heupel so far about this season. And, of course, a lot of questions naturally going to revolve around the quarterback position. You know, what does Nico look like? But, you know, he didn't really focus on that. You know, it was kind of asked if he is sort of the face of the team, why isn't he here? And, you know, Heupel pointed at the point that some of these guys have earned that opportunity more than, you know, Nico, you know, who's going to start playing his first full season as starter has. But, you know, for Josh, it was really about, you know, he wanted to drive home the point that, you know, he thought that culturally this Tennessee team is where it needs to be, and made reference to the point at which he started to where they are now. And, you know, attributed when I asked him some of the, you know, results last season that didn't quite keep pace with what they did in 22. And he just said simply, those are setbacks on Saturday. So he thinks, you know, clearly this program's headed in the right direction. Had heard from Oklahoma head coach Brent Venables about what he's looking forward to in his first season in the SEC. Much to Billy's chagrin, unfortunately, Missouri is in the SEC. So we heard from Coach Drinkwitz today as well, laying out what, you know, he thinks about his team of the upcoming year, talking about some of the pitfalls of maybe being a little bit more highly rated than they were the year before. And, you know, Kirby in his first full season where he's really got the whole spotlight on him, unfortunately, you know, had to deal with a lot of questions relating to some of the traffic incidents. And, you know, he still thinks his program's headed in the right direction. And, you know, really they might have just been 1 or 2 games away from the national championship last year. So he's excited about getting back in the saddle and seeing what he can do next year.
Let me ask you this. Did he get sort of cornered about, hey, why are you not able to stop all this driving craze that's going on there?
Yeah, everywhere he went, he was asked that question. It was worded pretty softly in most occasions, and he went into the whole coach speak of, well, we're, you know, a process-oriented team, and I think we're doing the right thing. It's just kids making dumb decisions on their own. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't know if there's a right way to answer that question. I don't know if there's a right fix for it. It's obviously a very complicated, you know, situation. Just so weird that, you know, the timing of it 2 years in a row has been right before the media days. And, you know, I know it's the last thing he wants to talk about, but it is something that, you know, outward facing, he's got to deal with because, you know, whether it's his fault or not, that is the perception of the Georgia program. Is that's kind of what people talk about when they talk about Georgia off the field.
Yeah, Billy, I don't know, George, real quick, I don't know if Billy saw this earlier this morning, but Kirby Smart did say that Georgia's NIL collective can now deduct NIL payment according to their contracts, and over 6 figures have been withheld because of some of these incidents. So that was kind of swept under the rug a little bit, and it's not fining. They don't want to say the collective is fining the players, but it's because of moral clauses they can deduct from their payment. So I thought that was interesting if for some reason they do get in trouble.
See, I think it would help Kirby to come out and just say, you're damn right, I'm pissed off about it. And I hope our players are hearing this and realize I'm not playing games. The next one that does it, is in deep you-know-what. I think he needs to do that instead of this tap dancing around the way he's been doing it.
Yeah, I understand that. And, part of the problem was last year there was that big hit piece, from the Atlanta Constitution-Journal that came out, 2 days before media days last year. So, the focus going into last year was this same concern that, it feels like he's just, almost memorized his lines when he gets asked a question about it. And this is something that even dates back to the Mark Richt days. Steve Spurrier made the famous quip that he enjoyed playing Georgia in week 2 because he felt like he could always count on them having a couple of decent players suspended. So this is kind of a thing that feels like it's a little bit habitual, and whether it's fair or not, this is kind of a tag that's been attached to the Georgia program.
Real quickly on Oklahoma, we know they're coming in. We know the history. They don't feel like they're 100% of what Oklahoma's used to. Anybody worried about that?
Yeah, the main point of, difference in years past is the offensive line. They lost 2 guys to the transfer portal on that offensive line. They bring back only 1 starter. And, when you look at what their starting 5 is going to look like, it's a lot of group of 5 transfers. It's not like these guys have, been in the pipeline. These are blue chip recruits that have kind of been incubating. These are guys that are kind of getting thrown into the fire. And, there seems to be, I think, a little bit of extremes on both ends of people talking about, this is a, SEC fan base is really talking about how they think Oklahoma is completely going to combust. And, Oklahoma fans thinking it's going to be a walk in the park. It's going to be different for them. And, some things they got away with in the Big 12 where there were little deficiencies in position groups. I think the depth's a big question mark for Brent Venables, and he even kind of talked about that today. I think that's the biggest worry I have, especially when you look at what they have in November. They got Alabama, they got Missouri, they got LSU. I mean, they're not only going to have to be good at the front end, they're going to have to be deep if they want to be competitive at the end of the season.
Okay, good stuff. We'll talk to you again right after the news at 5 o'clock. Billy, thanks as always.
Sounds great. Thank you, George.
Billy Jones reporting live from SEC Football Media Days in downtown Dallas at the Omni Hotel. Let's see if Richard Pearl is with us. Richard, if you're there.
He is not yet there.
Okay, then we'll go to the break and tell you that Tony Basilio's in the On Deck Circle on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com. An outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
Okay, we are back, and you're going to hear a lot of Tennessee stuff today. In a minute, Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville. You'll hear part of Josh Heupel's press conference today right after Billy's report at 5:03, and then we'll have an interview with Cooper Mays around 5:40 this afternoon. So Tennessee and Vandy both Vandy yesterday, Tennessee today. We've tried to focus on both of them. And then the next 2 days, we'll give you a little bit of everything. Now, let's go to Knoxville. Say hello to our man, Tony Basilio. Tony, how are you?
The Mays family. Those are incredible people, George. You're in good hands. Cooper Mays is a character. His dad is an absolute maniac. The Mazes will compete with you. It doesn't matter whether you're playing football, tiddlywinks, checkers, go fish. Those people are going to go after you. I like those people.
We were telling him what high schools we went to, and he was already trashing on both of them.
See? That's him. Yeah, he's really funny. His father helped me in radio. You know, his dad was going to be a high-level NFL player and hurt himself as a lead up to his pro career, and hurt himself to the point where he wasn't able to do anything football wise. And so he became ultra successful in business. But in between that and that, he was jumped with me, George, in radio. And we used to do a thing called Amazing Monday with Kevin Mays. And he was an absolute full-on total character, to the point where, George, and you can tell Cooper this, he challenged a couple listeners that were kind of chiding him and getting on him. He said, come meet me in the parking lot. And one day we got done at this local restaurant, and he literally did that, George. He was waiting for a guy in the parking lot.
I can promise it won't be me.
Me neither.
Were you surprised yesterday when Sankey put it out there that they still have not finalized a tiebreaker system? I mean, they've known for God only knows how long that this was going to come up. Why are we sitting here in July and we still don't have definitive rules?
And need more Zoom.
At that. No, that. And then, George, why did they say yesterday that in 2 years we're playing a 9-game schedule? That's a foregone conclusion they were going to announce that. But they still haven't announced that. You know why? Because they still don't know what format their schedule is going to take. What are they doing? What are these people at the league office? I mean, really, what are we doing?
What are we doing? So the 9-game deal, I get it. The TV networks do not want to show UL Monroe every other week, you know, in September. Poor old UL Monroe. By the way, if they ever get a home game against an SEC school, we need to go to it.
Oh, yeah.
But aren't the coaches kicking and screaming to this 9-game deal?
It doesn't matter what they want. These coaches are making $10 million a year. They can deal with it. It's kind of like NIL. You're making that much money? Don't cry for me, Argentina. I don't want to hear it.
Wow. He's in midseason form, Kelly. We can tell that right off the bat.
I like it.
So, what is the thought in Knoxville right now as far as, okay, baseball knocked down a national title, and I know Kelly's asked you this. Is there more pressure on football to deliver the goods because of baseball?
There's such a collegial thing going on with our coaches here that's not fake. So much of that, it is fake, but it's Tony Vitello told me that the previous football coach, you'd see him in the hallway and you couldn't even look at him. He said there was such a caste system and a level of arrogance. And he said these people are just normal folks, like they bring our recruits. They bring their recruits to our events. We bring our recruits to their events. I'll tell you how important football is at Tennessee, George, and it always has been, obviously. But I had Hunter Ensley on me last week, and Hunter was listing off his favorite moments in college, and he said, my first favorite moment, 1, beating Alabama in Neyland Stadium, 2, the national championship, and 3, the national championship parade. That's how
pretty strong.
That's how he listed the accomplishments when he was there. And, he's an in-state kid. And so it's what it means. There is a great relationship among the players and the athletes. And, George, you were inside athletic departments at a couple different stops. It's not always that way. It's just not. And Kelly will tell you that, too. I mean, guys who play for different teams are rivals, and they're this and they're that. And there's none of that there. Like, if you go to a Tennessee baseball game, you see football players there, you see basketball players there. You go to a basketball game, you see football players there, you see baseball players there. These guys are all there for each other. It's a unique thing they've got going in Knoxville right now. It really is.
Who do you think's most responsible for that?
I don't know.
Because
I do know that dating back to Tony Vitello, Rick Barnes said that when they were coming out of the COVID era, that 2021 season, he went on record and said, what's happened over here is magic. It's magic. And he was talking really about that Vanderbilt, that year Tennessee beat Vanderbilt with a 3 home run game from Evan Russell, even though Tennessee lost the next day, which is a footnote to history. But their baseball program and really things on this campus haven't been the same since that happened. That's when things took off here.
Interesting. So it's funny you bring up the Alabama win almost 2 years ago now. And of course, the great scene with the fireworks going off at the end. That's one of the things. In fact, I think the first thing I asked Cooper Mays is, for somebody from Knoxville, how good does it feel to know that you're the class that reignited Neyland Stadium?
And it means everything to him. His uncle played at Tennessee as well as his father. So his mother's brother played here. Sammy Frog played here in the 90s as well. I mean, these people live it, eat it, breathe it, and sleep it. And Cooper Mays has been a great leader here, just like his father was, just like his brother was, just like his uncle was. These are people not to be trifled with. You don't mess with those people. But he's a gentle giant. He's a really good kid. I had a chance to interact with him at an event he was at last year where our band was playing, and I was telling him some stories about his father, George, and he was just sitting there going, yeah, that's him. He is so classic, but it's such a great thing that they have such veteran leadership on their offensive line, because truly, is their offensive line great? No, but the whole is greater than the sum of the parts because of the veteran leadership they have on that unit. And it's why it's one of the top offensive line units ranked in the conference. And again, that's not to be scoffed at when you start talking about the Southeastern Conference. Both of Tennessee's lines are very good, which is something to hang your hat on going into the season.
Kelly, your witness.
Well, they're good because they're coached by a former Middle Tennessee guy, in Ellerby. There we go. I mean, that's why they're good, George.
True
Hey,
blue.
let me ask you this: why didn't Cooper Mays start his career off at the University of Georgia?
No, that was the other Mays.
That was the other Mays.
Yeah, who's now with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, he is. Okay, so he's the one. So, okay, so I was listening today. How satisfying was it for you that Nick Saban had to go back and get his credentials, Tony?
I mean, and then Saban got in front of the ESPN microphones and said, "Hey, I got news for Texas. You're not going to own this league. You're not going to just run roughshod over this league." And Saban's right. The Texas people are not going to like the fact that the earth, the sun, and the moon, the stars no longer revolve around them, because they revolve around Alabama in this league. And we all know that, by the way. There's no doubt that what I'm saying is true. The league office is in Birmingham. It's there so the league can be look, if you worship, and hang out with and celebrate around one fan base, who you going to serve? You're going to serve that fan base, right?
And
I mean, it's true. And as long
That's
as
right.
that league office is down there, that is the way it is going to be in the Southeastern Conference. So Texas better step off. They better understand what they've walked into here.
What do you give? Be a prognosticator. What do you give the Oklahoma Texas? I mean, Texas is more built right now for the league, but
Yeah.
Oklahoma seems like they're a little. What do you think those teams are going to do next year? Just in your opinion.
Kelly, I think that the expectations for Texas are so high.
Yeah.
How do you exceed those expectations? Win 12
Right.
games? They're not going to do that. In fact, they're more likely to win 10. I think that at the end of the year, if you say who will have a more surprising season, I think or who would play to or exceed expectations, I would put my money on Oklahoma over Texas. I've got a weird feeling that Texas is not going to have the first year that everybody's expecting. I just have a strange feeling that's coming to be, guys. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have a strange feeling that's what we're going to see.
So you think Oklahoma will do better than Texas? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
no, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about against expectations. In other words, Oklahoma's picked for, like a 9-3 fringe playoff team. They're kind of picked where the Vols are.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably about right. Two teams that are breaking in quarterbacks. Two teams, obviously Josh Heupel's a little further along in his program. But I do believe that both Texas and Oklahoma are in for a rude awakening from the standpoint of it's not the signature games that get you in this league. It's the South Carolinas of the world. It's these other games, the Mississippi States. You're facing NFL football players on all those teams. Big, huge, strong offense and defensive linemen. And that's where your wear and tear happens at this level. And they've never walked through that. Neither of those programs historically have walked through that. And these first couple teams are about to see that it's a different deal in this league. And it really is a different deal.
So I was listening to the broadcast today, and I was listening to a little bit of Coach Heupel, and I kind of asked you this last week. It's probably the same question I asked you. I can't remember from day to day, Tony. Sorry, but he talked a little bit about the running game and how the running game has been, kind of the catalyst for their offense. But with that being said, he's got this young redshirt freshman coming in as quarterback. He can talk about the run game all he wants to, but the whole season, don't you think? And I said it last week, but it evolves around this kid right here playing well.
Well, he was asked today, do you think there's going to be a ramping up period for him where it takes him a while until he becomes who he's going to be. And he said, I hope not. That's not our plans. Our plans are for Nico to be very good from day one. That's how we're coaching our football team. Those are the plans. Those are the expectations. I think this guy is going to meet those expectations. I really do. Now, is he going to be better at the end of the year than he is at the beginning of the year? Sure. Obviously, he's going to understand that's going to slow down for him. But he's going to be very good from the very beginning. And I'll give you guys a little something interesting on today's media day. That Oklahoma media sees Josh Heupel as a literal hero there, to the point of which I didn't understand this till today. And I guess I wouldn't have understood this till they're in the league. The first 5 questions, 3 of them come from Oklahoma media members. One of them's from a guy named Barry Trammell, who's just a long time. He's a legendary scribe there. And Heupel refers to him as the grand wizard of Oklahoma sports. But Dean Blevins asked a question and somebody else. There's such a fondness and a love for Heupel. And I didn't realize this little factoid. He's the last Oklahoma quarterback to win a national championship. Since him, guys, 4 Oklahoma quarterbacks have won Heisman trophies. 4. None of them have raised the chalice. Who are the 4? Let's see if you 2 guys can get the 4, George.
Okay, one of them's the white kid that nobody ever remembers, Jason White.
Jason
Bang.
White.
Bang.
Bingo.
That's very good. The guy with no knees. That's very good.
Baker Mayfield, Jason White,
Bradford.
Yeah, Bradford. And then
you're not supposed to help the old men.
Yeah, the kid out in Arizona. What's his name? I can't remember. My memory.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. That's
Bradford
correct.
And
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
Murray. That's right. So Kyler Murray.
Baker Mayfield and Jason
That's
White.
where we are.
Where did Jason White come from that year? Y'all remember? Like, he came out of nowhere. He had 14 different knee surgeries, I believe.
You think about it. Never in the history of the Heisman Trophy has a winner gotten that little pub.
That little pub. You're absolutely right.
I
Is
think
Tony still on? Or what
we
happened?
lost Tony a little bit, but hopefully we get him back in here.
I'm hoping.
So,
a couple of questions for him.
Kelly, this whole is Texas going to control the SEC? The answer is no, but you watch. There'll be a meeting and it'll get out where they try.
You know what, though? I mean, we've got to play the season. I don't know. They're really good guys. I mean, they went down to Tuscaloosa last year, and, everybody says, well, they're not going to win 12 games. Well, we don't know that. Who knows? I mean, they might be that good.
Where I'm going is more into league stuff, like them walking in and saying, we don't give a damn about the SEC network. We have our Longhorn network.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I understand that. I get that. But, everybody's saying all this, but, we don't really know, because Texas is really good. And, I mean, I think Sarkisian did a really good job last year. And if he's got all those kids believing and buying in. They went to one of the harder places in the country to play last year, and they won a game. So they gave them a lot of confidence stepping into this league. And I think Oklahoma's a little down. I'm not too, I know that I think Venables just didn't he get a contract extension, guys?
Yes. Yep. To be honest, he really didn't deserve.
No.
Has not performed to that level. What none of us know here is, did he walk into something that was doomed to early failure? I don't know that, but it might have been.
Could have been. You never know what situations are, and there's reasons a lot of times why coaches leave and coaches retire, because they understand what's coming down the chute. They get it, just like Coach Cutcliffe talked about the NIL. He knew that before it was going to happen, and he knew that he didn't want to deal with that. So I tell you what, though, Billy, what you told me, and I hadn't thought about this with Kirby Smart, what he was talking about with these contracts now. I think that's a heck of an idea, that you're going to get this money, but if you screw up, you get zilch. And that's how you can control these young men. Like, if you're holding that over their head, you better be a model citizen and you better not get in trouble or you're not getting paid, Hoss.
Yeah, but clearly they're not holding it over their head enough because it keeps happening.
They should.
Let's do this. Let's go to the break. If Tony's able to rejoin us, we'll put him back on. If not, we'll have our own riveting repartee. How about that? Yeah, whatever that means. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
If you're having plumbing issues, there's only one guy to call. That's Adam Whitehead. As a third-generation plumber, Adam was born and raised right here in Bellevue. Customers praise his professionalism, efficiency, and personability. Adam is known for his prompt response to emergencies and for providing high-quality repairs at reasonable prices. His expertise extends to various plumbing issues, including sink leaks, dishwasher installations, and outdoor water issues. Call him at 615-485-1534. That's 615-485-1534.
3 to 4 touchdowns. Let him earn your business. Let the sportsbrokers.com show you how to win consistently. Call now and get today's underdog winner outright. 800-220-6262. Absolutely free. Kevin Todd is the nation's #1 sports handicapper. He's the professional the professionals turn to. It's yours absolutely free at 800-220-6262. That's 800-220-6262. Kevin Todd turns outcomes into incomes. Call now. 800-220-6262.
We welcome all of you back. I'm told we've got Tony Basilio back on the line with us. So, Kelly, I know you had a couple of questions for him. Fire away.
Well, I was just going to ask because I was looking at the thing. Like Nico was kind of slight last year. He's 6'6", and I think he was 190. So are they telling me that he's gained 25 pounds since the season, Tony?
Kelly, you believe that?
No, I do not believe that. But I'm asking you.
Okay.
I mean, you. Okay.
Since when? I mean, Kelly, you played. Since when are heights and weights? Okay, me right now. Okay, me right now, right? Like we're gonna play pick up, whatever. I'm probably, now that I'm 50, whatever I am, I'm probably shrinking about a quarter inch every month.
Yeah.
I'll be like Herbie Velichev size before it's over, or like that guy that played Mini Me before this thing's over. At any rate, that kid is spindly. He's going to be spindly, and holding up in the SEC is, going to be an issue. But for him, it's the only issue because he's going to be a great, great, great player. But you're right. I mean, the gimmick heights and weights that these guys have in football, it's always made me laugh. I mean, here's a great example. Tennessee recruited a kid this year from Hofstra. They ended up signing him in basketball. They measured him, and he was like 2.5 to 3 inches shorter than he was supposed to be. And they were like, I mean, what in the world? It might have been 3+ inches, come to think about it. But they took him anyway because they were like, they figure he's going to be a really nice player at this level. I mean, that is a theme, though, with that guy. For him, though, he's going to be a really, really great player. Did we get the 4 Heisman Trophy winners? And I would like to. Can we have one more? Well, I don't know if they're one of your sponsors, George, because I came upstairs blaming my lovely wife for our drop. She blamed me, but if you guys want to know who the real culprit is, they're out of Philadelphia, and they control a lot of the internet and the cable around the country. But they might be a sponsor of yours, so I don't want to say anything negative.
Are we talking about Comcast?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Your official Atlanta Braves not station?
Thank you. Oh, that's right. There was the impasse with the Braves. That's all over the Southeast. That's wonderful, isn't it, George?
But they're an official Braves sponsor. I mean, when I went to Truist Park a week ago, I mean, it said they're an official sponsor. They've got a building out by right field, but I'll be damned if I can see them.
George.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you guys, that's about as good as my service down there in that studio. So par for the course. We've had a blackout in the Basilio studio as well.
I love it.
George and Billy, I'll leave you with this. I just text Tony and I asked him what kind of gym shoe operation he's running up there in Knoxville.
Well, I'll tell you this. Hey, I'll tell you this, there, Chief. One that my boy Billy Derrick's welcome to any time. And by the way, George, that young man that you got down there representing you,
he's good.
He asked a question loud and proud today. He was styling and profiling on your SEC network, and with your name, he gave your name the full deal. I mean, you trained him well.
And the moderator was who?
No, the moderator was like, man, that guy's a legend. George Plaster, that guy's a legend.
Yeah,
you know, that's what he thought.
Sure he did. So I say the National League wins again tonight. 2-game winning streak.
I mean, why the hell not? We've got the better players. We've got the better young stars. I used to say we played the better form of the game back in the day when we let pitchers hit. But now it's all relative. And, yeah. Let's just go ahead and call the shot. What do you think of the home run derby contest, George, last night? Now that we're on the baseball subject here.
It was better than the anthem.
Oh, that poor gal.
Oh.
You guys have time for one quick backstory?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because you know these music industry people. Well, I love my music, right? So a friend of mine is in the concert industry. And that gal was out on tour with Keith Urban a couple years ago, and he was out with him. And he said all her songs are kind of in the same key, and she doesn't have a lot of range to her voice. So when he heard she was singing the anthem, and he's a musical guy, he thought, wow, how's that going to go? And then he texted me back and he said, not very well. That was really rough, guys.
How could
That was really
MLB
rough.
not have figured that out, though, ahead of time?
I mean, that was, Roseanne Barr was trying to do her deal. Carl Lewis, I don't know what that was, but she's easily bottom 5, right? All time in anthem singing.
Yes.
She was screeching at the end.
It was really bad. Okay, so tell people how they can hear you.
For this more fun and frivolity and lack of insight, I'm over at tclub.team. We're blogging every day. Tomorrow, some stuff on Josh Heupel's appearance, some stuff on Tennessee basketball, some stuff on the baseball draft, several things converging all at once. And I really appreciate your time, George. And, man, I'm just so thrilled that you're back on the radio. And I saw something from Greg Pogue today, having fun with you online. I mean, we're having fun here, George. This is fun, man. Let's put the band back together here, bro.
Let's do it. Hey, thank you as always.
Hey, thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Tony Basilio joining us from Knoxville, as is the case every week during this time. Kelly.
Yes, sir.
Answer the question. So Billy says they're taking money away from the Georgia kids who drive like a bat out of you-know-what.
Yeah.
Why isn't it working? Why isn't it a deterrent?
Ooh. Because they're young and dumb and they don't think about anything other than what's going on right now. They don't think about consequences because we were all there at one time. But once you get gray hair, which you don't have gray hair, George, and you're old as dirt, but once you get the wisdom, you understand that you cannot do things like that. Billy's still in that range where, he thinks he's invincible, but I got news for him. And I got news for him, too, that I'm not sure that little girl, does she really like you, Billy?
Good Lord.
It's time to mute him.
It probably is. I got to tell you all this. There is a chance at 5, when we come back at 5:03, that Missouri football coach Eli Drinkwitz is going to join us live. Now, this stuff gets tricky, and if that's the case, we'll move Heupel to 5:20. We will figure it all out when we come back. You're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
Good afternoon. It's building pretty good here on this South Loop. The West Loop still heavy up through Madison right now. 65 north, working your way to that ramp there to Vietnam Vets. Not bad. I-40 as you head out through Wilson County. Just watch for radar. Wilson, Smith County. There's been radar out in Dixon County as well. Down I-40. Be careful. Nash Painting, a non-franchise painting company. Mention this ad. Get a 10% discount. Nash Painting, called right now 912-2288. That's Nash Painting. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-885-9500. That's 1-800-885-9500. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-885-9500. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Hey, if you're looking for a place to catch all the hockey and hoops action this spring, look no further than the Alley Pub in Bellevue. And now here's Samantha to tell you about one of their great weekly specials.
Attention service industry. We want to say cheers to you at the Alley Pub.
located at 7040 Highway 70 South in Bellevue. Every Wednesday night, bring a copy of your ABC card or pay stub to receive 20% off of your tab. Only at the Alley Pub, Bellevue's best sports bar and grill.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Hey, this is Greg Pogue. Every day, Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the Greg Pogue Show right here on Nashville Sports Radio. Mandated fun, the return, Weenie Wednesday, favorite things of the day, all kind of stuff going on. Watson Brown, Jeff Fisher, you are very much a part of it. Call or text 615-844-5600. That's the Greg Pogue Show. Every Monday through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. right here on Nashville Sports Radio.
Wrapping up this first hour with Stat of the Day, brought to you by Adam Whitehead Plumbing here in Nashville. If you got issues with your water heaters, bathrooms, kitchen sinks, water, or sewer lines, give Adam a call, 615-485-1534. All right, we're going baseball again today. And after last night's home run derby, Teoscar Hernandez is the first Dodger and second player from a Los Angeles team to win the home run derby. Who was that other player? Obviously, an Angel, you would guess, of course.
Yes, I can read the tea leaves, Billy. Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Maybe Kelly wouldn't have.
I got it there, homie. Don't
Wow. Okay. So it's either Trout or Ohtani, one would think. Right, Kelly?
Ohtani hasn't won the Derby, has he?
No.
Well, you're the one that has the answer. You don't know?
Hold on. I got to ask a question. It wouldn't be Albert Pujols, would it?
That's a better guess.
That's a better guess. Well, why don't you show us the answer? Whatever.
Vlad.
Really?
That's Vlad the dad.
Yes.
Not Vlad the son.
Vlad Jr. has also won it.
He probably was this generation's best bad ball hitter. Roberto Clemente was an incredible bad ball hitter. This guy, same kind of stuff.
Really? He was really good.
Oh, listen, he was an absolute machine.
No batting gloves.
Yeah, how about that? One of the few that didn't or doesn't, for that matter. Okay, let's talk through a couple of things. When we come back, one of two things is going to happen. You got to understand, when you try to schedule all this stuff, that hotel is crazy right now. So somebody will tell Billy Jones, yeah, we can get so-and-so over here. In this case, Eli Drinkwitz. But then, right as it all happens, you never quite know. So, one way or the other, you will hear an SEC head coach from the Eastern Division. It's either Eli or Josh. How'd you like that, Kelly?
I like it. It is what it is. It's a fluid situation.
That was well said. You
Good
are
word.
Really starting to, I mean, your vocabulary is expanding. Earlier today, we found out you're true blue. And I'll leave you with this, Kelly. It just means more.
I thought that when I looked at the SEC media day today, it just means more.
No, and God knows they want you to think that. Okay, hour number one's in the books. We'll head back to Dallas, Texas to start the 5 o'clock hour. Hope you'll stay with us.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Day 2 of the Republican National Convention getting underway in Milwaukee. Unity is the theme tonight. Speakers include one-time rivals of Donald Trump, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. Security is heightened following the assassination attempt of the former president in Pennsylvania, and investigators are looking into the gunman's background and reviewing security. Butler County Sheriff Michael Sloop, meantime, is defending his deputies.
My office staff is receiving phone calls cussing and swearing that we should have been able to stop this. Boy, do I wish we could have.
President Biden is in Las Vegas speaking at the NAACP conference denouncing the assassination attempt and gun violence. Concerns over Biden's reelection bid still growing. Congressman Adam Schiff privately told donors today he thinks Biden should step aside as the nominee. And a jury convicted Senator Bob Menendez on all 16 counts in his corruption trial, including acting as a foreign agent. He vows to appeal. This is ABC News.
Heating up, just like the deals at Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged steaks to juicy burgers, Omaha Steaks is your summer grilling headquarters. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale at omahasteaks.com for exclusive unconditional money-back guaranteed packages starting at $99. Plus, get an extra $10 off with promo code QUALITY at checkout. Visit omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY for an extra $10 off. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale today before these deals go up in smoke.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex. Welcome back to the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
And we welcome all of you into the 5 o'clock hour. We're headed in just a moment to downtown Dallas and the Omni Hotel. In fact, let's go ahead and bring Billy Jones up for his report. Billy, I know Auburn isn't on the slate until later this week, but I saw the note where I guess they've sold the most season tickets at Jordan-Hare in the school's history. Amazing.
Yeah. Why? I mean, that fan base doesn't take a lot to get them excited. They certainly love their football.
Tell me what's going on behind the scenes. What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Yeah, one of the more interesting things that happened today, we talked in the first hour about some of the teams that win. Tennessee, Oklahoma, Missouri, Georgia, all teams in that upper echelon of the SEC that plan on being in that playoff come December. I thought one of the more interesting parts of today is we got to hear from SEC head of football officiating, John McDade, talking about some of the big rule changes coming our way in college football this year. Gave us some real insight into the way that this is going to look on game day. Obviously, one of the biggest things coming into the game is the tablets. Just like you see in the NFL every week, the players on the sideline are going to be able to use the tablets to try and, make adjustments in games. Hasn't been a thing before in college football. Sankey announced yesterday the SEC has partnered with Apple. We heard from the Big 12 that they're using Microsoft because that's just what college football needs is more bidding money. But some interesting changes. You know, in the NFL, you're only allowed to look at still photographs. College football, that's not the case. They're going to let you look at live replays, and you can have up to 3 cameras around the stadium. So a lot of different angles. We'll see how that changes, of course, what happens in games. Also, that's going to go along with the first-year college football instituting player-to-coach communication through the use of the microphone in the helmet. One player on each side of the ball can use that. So some really interesting stuff from him as far as how that's going to be implemented and how things are going to look different this season.
Boy, that is. And we'll get Kelly to react to that. Billy, if we can, Billy Derrick, if we can put Kelly on there. Kelly, when you hear that, how big an advantage is that for the offense?
It's huge when you can go over there and you can look at stuff like that. I can remember when I first went into the league and you were looking at they had those pictures, and now you can get over there on the iPads and stuff. Man, that's huge because you can come right off the field, and if the defense gave you something that you haven't seen in all your studies and all that, you can go and figure out, hey, well, you and the coach can talk about it. Well, we can do this, and maybe we didn't rep that during the week, but you know, we've got some kind of scheme that can take advantage of that. So it's huge being able to do stuff like that. It's huge. I know that they talked about yesterday too, putting stuff in the defensive guys' ears so they can, you know, get it to them quicker. But you know, all the technology that's coming is amazing. It's hands-on. You can get it. You understand what's going on. Like back in the day, you know, you were looking at pictures and sometimes it was hard to see those pictures, but now it's all on the iPad, man. It's a huge advantage.
Billy, give me one more note.
Yeah, they also the horns down was the other big thing that John McDade was faced with. What's that going to look like next year? You know, he was pretty, you know, strong about, you know, laying that there's different categories for something to be unsportsmanlike. He basically said it had to be, you know, flagrantly indecent, it had to be taunting, or it had to just be something that was completely unacceptable. So sounds like for the most part, it's going to be fair game. So long as, let's say you're, you know, not batting down a pass and then staring down the receiver and flashing them at it. So we'll see. We'll see how it adjusts. But it sounds like it's pretty much going to be open season on throwing the horns down. We'll see how of course that looks next season. But you know, Texas, it just feels like finds a way to dominate the storylines. We saw yesterday the Nick Saban quote about them running the conference. You know, from administration standpoint, they really just can't help themselves, and that's going to be something that the NCAA, or excuse me, that the SEC is going to have to be ready for, you know, in the future.
I do wonder why he said it. There's something that has gone on that made him say, I am going to shove it up there. You know what?
I don't know. Maybe they beat them last year.
You know, that's a good thought. Billy, appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, guys.
Wrong Billy, but Billy too.
My bad. My bad.
Hey, we'll see you again at the end of the show.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Billy Jones reporting live from the Dallas Omni Hotel in downtown Big D. Okay, I asked Billy Derrick, and I'm going to be right there with you all because I was not able to see Josh Heupel today live. So I asked Billy to pick out about 10 minutes of the best stuff. Let's listen in.
The secondaries area where y'all had a lot of turnover, brought in a lot of new guys, including Jermod McCoy. Just what is it you're expecting from him in that group this year?
Yeah, expecting those guys to play at a championship level. I love the group as far as their length, athleticism, playmaking ability, their willingness to be physical, take on, destruct blocks, tackle in open space, their care factor, their knowledge and understanding of what we're doing, how they approach, you know, their practice every single day. I'm really excited about it. I mentioned a little bit earlier, but this is the deepest that we've been within our roster, and that affords you to have the opportunity to have great competition every single day. That's on the practice field, that's in the meeting room, but that depth becomes important as you go throughout the course of the season as well, and I'm looking forward to that group taking a real step here this fall for us.
You're a great quarterback at OU, and you've always been good with quarterbacks. Tell us about your latest quarterback, and he was such a highly recruited kid.
Yeah, was highly recruited because of his athletic traits. He's got the ability to throw the football sideline to sideline, vertically down the football field, extremely accurate, loose, quick triggered arm. He's got the ability to extend and make plays with his feet. That's as a runner that's, evading and making a play down the field. The thing that I've loved about Nico is, when he came into the building, he wanted to earn the respect of his teammates, and you do that through your actions, not your words. Everybody understands how hard he works to become the best that he can at his craft. He takes great ownership in his skill set and developing it, understanding of our offense, and as a young player, gets his first start in the bowl game. One of the best compliments you can give to a quarterback is when it goes from the practice field to the game field, it slows down for him. During the course of the bowl game, it slowed down for him. Thought he was in great command out there. Now, there's a lot of things that he learned from that game. He's had great urgency in his preparation all offseason. I'm really excited to see his growth and development as a young quarterback throughout the course of this 24-hour journey.
Barry Trammell with the Tulsa World. Hey, Josh, can you reflect on 25 years now since you came to Norman? You're going back to Norman in September. Guy that came in with you, Brent's the head coach on the other side.
Yeah.
OU's joined the league that you've established yourself in. Just the crazy nature of your journey as it relates to Oklahoma.
Barry, I feel like only you could have predicted that all these things would have happened 25 years ago. As the grand wizard of Oklahoma media. Coach Leach recruits me. Brent, I got great respect for Brent. Playing while he was coaching, but also being beside him in the staff room. I don't know that I ever forecasted they were coming into this league, Oklahoma. It's just those are two really good brands coming in. Obviously, Oklahoma, my experience there. I think it's an exciting time to be in this league, and really unique that I'll have an opportunity to go back to Oklahoma. It'll be a completely different viewpoint that Saturday afternoon or evening, whenever the game is. But it'll be unique for me. I got family that still lives back there. A lot of friends, teammates, still, coaches that I stay in contact that coached me while I was there, and obviously administration too. So it'll be a unique Saturday.
Josh, why did you ultimately not bring Nico Iamaleava here?
Man, it's not about why I didn't bring Nico. It's about why the three guys that I talked about earlier are here. And these are guys that are in 6-year plus that have unique stories and are great ambassadors, but great leaders inside of our program. And felt like, in our track record, my track record of who we've brought here, we've brought veteran guys. And so it's not about Nico, it's about, these three guys, why we made that choice.
Hey, Coach. Chris Phillips, SEC Unfiltered. Chris Brazel's a guy who's gotten a lot of hype this offseason, the Tulane transfer. Just talk about what makes you so excited about him, and then the rest of that wide receiver group, the luxury it is to help a young quarterback with some of the talent you've got in that room.
It's always a luxury as a quarterback to have guys that have the ability to separate, create bigger windows, that have length to go up and attack the football, have the skill set to defeat press at the line of scrimmage, let you get the ball out of your hands, not sit back there and take a bunch of hits. Chris is somebody that has got a lot of talk about because of what he's done on the field. Been a great teammate, but he's been a dynamic playmaker up until this point as we went through spring ball. And his best is still coming. He's continued to grow and mature physically. Just his strength, explosiveness, size to his frame, what he's done since he got there in January. Really excited about him and looking forward to having a great training camp with him.
Josh, back on Nico, it sounds like the learning curve that you're expecting him to hit the ground running, and it's not going to be any wait till mid-season to gain your form. Is that accurate?
Well, I certainly hope not. You know what I mean? We want him to hit the ground running. He's a young quarterback. Played really well in the bowl game. He's going to continue to grow through all of his experiences here throughout the course of the season. He's only going to continue to get better from all of those. But we expect him to play at a really high level from the very beginning, and we need that from him.
The relationship with Tony Vitello and how you've been able to use the baseball program to kind of cross-recruit with football, what has that been like for the last 3 years, and how have you used Vitello to maybe land a few players on y'all's roster?
At times there's baseball, football guys that you're recruiting, so having a clear dialogue with him, I think is really important, him and his staff. But I think one of the great things, when it's going good all year long as far as your logo being in front of recruits. And so what Coach Vitello has done on the baseball side of it, or Coach Barnes has done on the basketball side of it, those are great experiences for recruits when they come to campus. They get a small taste of what Vol Nation is like and what game days are going to be like in front of 102,000 inside of Neyland Stadium.
I did want to ask about building a program, and you've done it at a couple of places. That was Central Florida and now at Tennessee. With the portal and all the portal that entails, is it easier, harder to build a program how you'd like to?
Well, I think the portal has positives and negatives within your own roster, right? You lose some, you gain some. The portal gives you the ability to go patch holes on your roster quicker than it could happen just through general high school recruiting. It's a little bit like junior college recruiting used to be, where you had immediate needs and had to patch your roster.
You just mentioned Dylan Sampson. What kind of role do you expect for him to have this year, maybe an increased opportunities for him?
Yeah, he will have increased opportunities. He's a guy from the moment that he got there, had great feel, pace, and vision. He's done a great job with the ball in his hands and out of his hands. He's become a really good pass protector. He's got the ability to help you in your return game as well. After his freshman year, his ability to impact his teammates, Dylan's one of the strongest leaders that we have inside of our locker room. Just a dynamic personality that isn't afraid to call on his teammates and make sure that they're meeting the standards. He's going to have a great year for us.
Hey, Coach, Bruce Marshall from WHBQ in Memphis. A schedule question for you. 2 years ago, you had that game at Pitt that I really thought kick-started you guys early in the season. And last year, you didn't really have one of those away. You had the game in Nashville last year at the opener. But this year, you got that NC State game in Charlotte, the second game. How important is that for you to get a game like that, a tough non-conference game early? Do you think that can serve the same purpose as that Pitt game did 2 years ago?
Yeah, every season's different. I'm not sure you want to necessarily go into overtime to kickstart your season, but it certainly helped. NC State's really good program. Coach Dorn's done a really good job there. They're a really good football team. That'll be a big-time matchup Saturday evening over there in Charlotte.
NIL, become a bad word for a lot of college football fans. But can you talk a little bit about the positives for your guys, just some of those personal stories that you've seen and the differences that it's made?
Yeah, I wish I had it when I was back in Oklahoma playing, you know what I mean? I think, for our players, in their lives, with their family, it's afforded them opportunities, and I think that's important. I do truly go back to my playing days and feel like, you wanted to be a part of it and have an opportunity to use the game in a positive way for your family as well. And so for our guys, being able to increase their brand, their notoriety, and also be take care of their families is a real positive.
Okay, that's a little bit of what Josh Heupel put out there today in Dallas. After the break, we're going to bat some things around in a little bit of a roundtable fashion. I'm not asking for as many phone calls in these first 4 days of the week as normal because of all the content, but if there's something that you want to get in there real quick, jump in now. This will be the one segment. 615-844-5255. 5600. That is our number. If you want to get in, jump in now. We'll go to the break. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. Quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Okay, we are back. Let me first go to the phones with Tony in Nolensville. Tony, welcome in.
Good afternoon, guys. Hello, George. And
howdy.
With it being a busy show, I try to be quick, but my 2 things I want to just bring up real quick. First of all, tonight, George, it'll be 80 years since Carl Hubble struck out Murderers Row in the All-Star game of 1934, if y'all remember that.
I think Kelly probably saw it live. I did not.
I believe Kelly could name the 5 that he struck out.
No, Kelly couldn't either, Hoss.
Hey, give us the 5 if you've got them.
It was Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, Joe Cronin. Struck them out in succession. All 5 were Hall of Famers.
Wow. That's not exactly Orlando
Carl Hubble
Arcia,
did it 80 years ago on the 1934 All-Star game, which, of course, he went on, I think, to be a Hall of Famer himself. Pretty good stat, I thought you'd know that. And, George, I'll tell you, before I was at the 1972 All-Star game in Atlanta, and out of that All-Star game, 29 Hall of Famers. So
Hank Aaron hit a home run that night in Atlanta Stadium off Gaylord Perry. And, that was a big moment. First All-Star game in the South. And here's Aaron, the hometown hero, delivers huge. That was a big moment.
Big moment. And I think they won 4-3, 4-2, something like that, the National League did. Hey, guys, one thing I want to bring up real quick, and George, me and you and Watson talked about this 2 years ago, and I happen to keep the stats on it for whatever reasons, I don't know. But in 2023, Kelly, a reporter wrote out of Atlanta that since, and this was in 2023, he wrote this, since Kirby Smart had been the head coach at Georgia, at that time he had roughly 350 players on his roster. However, the football team had received 300 traffic violation offenses at that point, most of them being misdemeanors in seatbelt, your general speeding and whatnot. However, 60 times, keep in mind he was writing this 2023, 60 times they had guys over 20 miles per hour. 14 times they had guys over 30 miles per hour. And 7 times they had guys over 40 miles per hour in speeding offenses. And one of those at that time was one of their players doing 75 on a 35 mile per hour street. This has been going on at Georgia for a long time. Kirby Smart does nothing to him. He said he handles it inside by making them, Kelly, run more sprints or getting up with the Breakfast Club and running some. He does nothing to these guys. And a lot of these violations attributed are back to the NIL, where these players are wanting more money, and that first thing they do, go out and buy the muscle cars, and then they can't control them. And knowing that Kirby Smart at Georgia, does nothing to these guys, it's ridiculous. And wasn't it earlier this week or last week, Mike, what's his name out there at Oklahoma State?
Gundy. Mike Gundy.
He played off the fact that one of his players got a DUI. He played it off, said, I ain't worried about it. He's going to play in the games. And just that same week, the Minnesota Vikings player lost his life in a DUI accident. So this has all been going on for a long time with a lot of these young kids, but it is totally out of control at Georgia. And maybe with this new thing of them taking some of their money, maybe that'll get their attention. So I'm going to let y'all guys have to talk about it. But George, thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely, Tony.
Bye-bye.
Kelly, I'll tell you what it sounds like. It sounds like almost a fraternity kind of dare. That, doesn't it? I mean, for that many to be that over the limit, that feels like almost some sort of an initiation rite.
Yeah, something's going on down there, because that's what you hear about down there, George. But I'm just thinking about some of the things that I hear, and Tony's got a point, man. That's a huge situation that you've got to deal with. But I think that Tony, and I think all of us, would be totally shocked if we knew what all went on behind the scenes. Because I know just at my school, that and everybody talks about way back when Jimmy Johnson was at Dallas, and Troy Aikman was probably dozing off in a meeting, but there was another guy that dozed off in a meeting too.
Curvin
and he wasn't
Richards.
he wasn't as prevalent as Troy. So he yelled at him to make the point to Troy, but we know that he's not going to get rid of Troy, because Troy's he's a Hall of Famer. He's won the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl 2 times for him. There's a 2-tier justice system when it comes to stuff like that. And I've heard stories about some of my coaches. He wasn't a player, son. He wasn't a player. So I mean, that's I mean, that stuff goes on, whether it's right or wrong, but I think we would all be shocked if we knew all the goings on. Now, when you start talking about DUIs and things like that, that's a little bit different deal. And another thing that was totally, it's totally awful to me. And if I was a coach, I could not deal with it. But somebody that steals on the team, I can't deal with stealing. I just cannot deal with that. So there's some offenses that go on that we don't know anything about, but there's some offenses that, like stealing, like a DUI, you got to do something about it. But, these coaches nowadays, they're getting paid, like Tony said, $10 million. Their butts are on the line every weekend, and they want to keep their job. And if they're kicking off the top-tiered kids – you're not going to win very many games. So that's why I like what Billy talked about and what he talked about with Kirby Smart. I think that if you're giving kids NIL money, you need to hold that over their head and say, if you mess up, you're not getting it.
Yeah, but there's varying degrees. I use the term deck chair off the Queen Mary.
True.
You've got to make it hurt a little bit. But enough of that. I want to get to this and see what both of y'all think. September 21st, Tennessee goes to Norman, Oklahoma to play Oklahoma. And it's obvious that something went on between Bob Stoops and Josh Heupel. He didn't get fired because he was suddenly stupid. And he's proven at Tennessee to be very good. These are two teams that are going to sit somewhere between 8-4 and 10-2. And they're both going to be, quote, in contention for the college football playoff. And about the time both of them know this is a huge game, I believe somebody's going to come out with something that says, here's why it happened. And I think there's going to be a lot of controversy that week about that. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I have a feeling Josh Heupel, I'd love to be a fly on the wall before that game, because it's got to be personal. I mean, there's no way there's nothing there. And every time he's asked about it, it's all respect, and maybe there is some, parts of him that obviously he still loves Oklahoma. He won a national title there, but I mean, people are saying that's the biggest game in Oklahoma football history. Now, is it that big for Tennessee? We'll see.
By the way, it's not. It's not anywhere close.
Yeah,
look back through those Oklahoma-Nebraska games in the 70s. I mean, please.
Yeah, that's a little over the top, but there's no way there's nothing to this. And I think Tennessee. I don't know what the early line is right now, George, but I think Tennessee is the slight favorite. But I mean, for Tennessee, I think they have the edge because if you're Heupel, you've got the motivation. I mean, those players should have all the motivation in the world to go out there and beat Oklahoma. There's no way there's nothing there. The way he's talking about it and the way other people say, oh, it's all respect. There's no way.
Yeah, I think there obviously something went on because he played for Bob Stoops. He won a national championship for Bob Stoops, but sometimes, things don't mix. And, you got a personal relationship with the guy, but then, when you hire him as a coach, it becomes business at that point. And if you're not happy with what he's doing, then you got to take the personal relationship aside. And that's what I say when you become a head coach. A lot of guys want to hire friends, and sometimes that friendship gets in the way of doing the right thing, and that's a tough thing that you got to go through. So obviously it's worked out for Josh Heupel because he went and he started a program at Central Florida. He did really well, and now he's come to Tennessee. And I mean, I think he's behind Bill Battle and Philip Fulmer for, in 2 seasons, how many games he's won. I think they've both got a few more wins than he has. But what he's done at UT is pretty remarkable. So it obviously worked out for him. But I don't know. Here's what I'm going to ask y'all: if something did come about and Brett Venables, obviously, Bob Stoops left and they hired him. What do you think Josh Heupel would be in the running for that job? Do you think that's the only job that Josh Heupel would leave Tennessee for? Maybe.
Don't know what the relationship is between him and the current AD.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Probably what matters the most. Venables, yeah, he got the long contract, but let him go 6-6 a couple of years and see how quick they buy him out, because it would be very quick. And right now, Heupel would have to be at the top of the list. But what we don't know is then there's Bob Stoops, who it feels like still has a shadow over Oklahoma. And how crazy would that be if you'd hired a guy that Stoops fired as an assistant? That's weird.
Yeah, but it's business. I mean, that is weird, but it's business. I mean, is that what's best for your program? You know what he's done as a head coach. He won a national championship there. And, you know, Tony talked about the 4 Heisman guys that won the Heisman Trophy but didn't bring a national championship. Josh Heupel brought them their last national championship. He's endeared to that place. They love him. I think it boils down to business at that point. Is he the best coach that we can hire for our program?
I'm not saying Heupel's going to be the Oklahoma coach in 2-3 years, but in today's day and age, we've talked about it, it's a little bit easier to pack your bags, go somewhere else, hop in the portal, grab you some guys, and, it doesn't take 3-4 years anymore. So I could see that, Kelly. He's got to be at the top of their list, unless, like you said, George,
Absolutely.
maybe the AD doesn't want it or whatever. But that doesn't feel like a better hire for Oklahoma. I know they've got Venables than bringing in Heupel potentially. Now, again, it's probably not going to happen now, but going back 3-4 years after Stoops, if they could have had Heupel, you got to believe they would have taken that. I mean,
well, only time will tell. It just seems like when they get to September 21st, that while the storyline ought to be, these are two teams that might be competing for one spot, because they're both going to be in that 8-4, 10-2 range. But instead, it might be a week of, why did he get fired there?
And that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question you brought up, because I think inquiring minds would want to know. I would want to know. Everybody would want to know what happened, when one of your most beloved players comes back as a coach, you let him go. I think everybody would want to know that.
I have a feeling from either camp, Oklahoma or Tennessee, something's going to come out about how that ended. Now, we could be totally wrong here. Maybe it was smoother than we think. But I have a feeling something's going to come out to try to affect either team from one of the camps, or maybe both, to light a fire. But that's the I might be most excited for that game. Early season. I mean,
Georgia Clemson. It's got some of that same kind of feel to it early. Anyway, I know we got to go to the break. When we come back, you'll hear from Tennessee offensive lineman Cooper Mays. You're listening to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season.
Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City. Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
If you're having plumbing issues, there's only one guy to call. That's Adam Whitehead. As a third-generation plumber, Adam was born and raised right here in Bellevue. Customers praise his professionalism, efficiency, and personability. Adam is known for his prompt response to emergencies and for providing high-quality repairs at reasonable prices. His expertise extends to various plumbing issues, including sink leaks, dishwasher installations, and outdoor water issues. Call him at 615-485-1534. That's 615-485-1534.
262. Absolutely free. Kevin Todd is the nation's #1 sports handicapper. He's the professional the professionals turn to. It's yours absolutely free at 800-220-6262. That's 800-220-6262. Kevin Todd turns outcomes into incomes. Call now, 800-220-6262.
As promised earlier, we're headed back down to the Omni Hotel in Dallas, and we're talking with University of Tennessee offensive lineman Cooper Mays joining us here on the show. First of all, nice tie, good-looking suit.
Appreciate it, brother. I've worked hard on this.
I can tell you did. So before we get into this football team that's about to take the field in a few weeks, how gratifying has it been for you growing up in Knoxville and watching Tennessee struggle in 10, 15 years ago to be the group that has sort of ignited Neyland Stadium back to what it used to be?
It's been huge for me. Everybody talks about goals and everything, and obviously that's a championship, that's the expectation, But for me, a big goal of mine coming to Tennessee was to leave it a better place than I found it, and I feel like we've done a really good job of that. So I'm super happy with how my path, definitely wasn't the way I expected anything to go when I came to Tennessee at first, but couldn't be happier with how things have turned out.
So let's take that a little bit farther. What is it about Josh Heupel that has been at times almost like magic for your program?
Well, I think he's done a really good job relating to us players and building trust with us. And then moreover, he's a guy that knows ball, at a really high level. And, when you have high levels of talent and playmakers and people that can make stuff happen, an offensive minded guy like Coach Heupel can make a lot of moves with that. And, I think that's what you've seen in our offense.
Go back 2 years ago when you guys beat Alabama in Knoxville. It felt like a little bit of knocking down the Berlin Wall, and the scenes on television were incredible. The fireworks at the end, the whole 9 yards. Give me a memory or two of that game.
Oh man, my my biggest memory was just watching. Well, obviously you watched Jalen Hyatt have 5 touchdowns. I mean, that was pretty crazy and sick as it is, you know. But I just remember seeing the kick go up and seeing the way it was rolling. It was tumbling in the air. Didn't look like a normal kick. It looked like it gotten tipped, and I think it did get tipped. But I definitely thought we had missed the kick, and I was preparing myself for overtime when I see everybody erupt and you know the referees put their arms up, and it was a special moment. Definitely something I'll never forget.
You played with a guy that I honestly believed should have gotten way more Heisman Trophy attention in Hendon Hooker. When did you know that it was going to be like snapping a finger with Hendon Hooker and everything works?
Oh man, probably that season, that 2022 season. 2022 is when we beat everybody, right?
Yeah.
So probably the 2022 season when we played Florida. You know, he kind of we had won some games that year and pulled out a tough one at Pitt, but you know things didn't really just click easily that game. You know, we really grinded that one out and ended up winning in overtime. But man, from Florida on, it seemed like stuff just worked. You know, you'd be blocking and then you see Jalen Hyatt running for like 60 yards wide open, and you'd be like, how does somebody let that happen? You know, and you know, it just seemed like stuff like that kept happening, and it was really fun to play that way.
And so now you've got a guy that's got a lot of hype around him in Nico, and it feels like he's going to be another one where you just snap your fingers and good things happen. Talk to me about what you've seen of him since he's been there.
The biggest thing is just the type of kid that Nico is. You know, Nico is just a real class act, and you can tell he's been raised the right way and just takes every opportunity he can to learn from others and be humble and ask questions. From the first day he got on campus, he's been like that. So that's probably been the most outstanding thing that I've seen from him.
I want you to talk to me. It's almost like I'm going to turn you into a coach here. Under Heupel, and he's the first guy I ever saw do this, where he took wide receivers that normally would line up at the numbers and take them dadgum near the press box, you know, right at the edge of being in bounds. What is it about that becomes such a big advantage?
I think, you know, it obviously spreads the field out, so your runs have a little bit more chance to bust and kind of split the safeties because all the coverage is out wide. And then that's one aspect of it. And then the second aspect of it is you got to make DBs run all over the field. You know, it's hard for, I'm not that I've ever played DB before, but I'm sure after, you know, chasing somebody down 50 yards and then having to go back, you got to run all the way across the field and do it again. Can't be easy. And I think we kind of use those splits as an advantage to take advantage of DBs and you know how out of position they are.
I see they're about to get you to go to another talk, and get ready. You'll get better questions other places. Tell me about this year. College football playoff says that the top 12 get there, and a lot of people think you all are right on that edge right now of being able to get into that. What's it going to take to knock down that door?
Man, I would just say just being consistent is the biggest thing. You know, you play in a division like the SEC, in a conference like the SEC, you don't have any room for error really. So I would say just being consistent every single week, trying to pull out W's and just go 1-0 every week. That's what it will take.
Yeah. Tell me about your offensive line. Everybody says it's going to be a massive strength for you guys.
Yeah, I would say they're correct in my opinion. I would say that you know we've got strength in amount of time played, just age in general, and you know experience goes a long way, especially in our position group. So, you know, the more experience you have and the more returning starters you have will bode well for you.
Listen, I appreciate you taking the time. God only knows how many of these you're going to have to do, but I like the tie and
appreciate it, brother.
Well dressed. Cooper, thank you.
No doubt. Thank y'all for having me.
Cooper Mays joining us here on the show, and we thank him for taking the time. we'll come back to actually talking about what's going on at SEC Media Days after we remind you you're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
Good afternoon. Wrapping up that wreck in Rutherford County, 840 westbound at Veterans Parkway. That's as you leave Rutherford County, headed towards Williamson County. Still some volume, 65 north, trying to get up through Madison right now, up towards that ramp to get onto Vietnam Vets. Just give yourself a little bit of extra time out here. We've seen some radar on I-40 out in Wilson County. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on the menu. You got to check them out. Order online right now. princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. While leaning over the fence, your neighbors said you could save money bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive. Bad news. Your neighbor leaned over a little too much and broke your fence. Dumb news. Somehow fence wood is more expensive than wood. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and to plant really tall shrubs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Do you find yourself looking for new and exciting things to do locally with your family during the hot summer months? Thanks to Strike and Spare, you don't have to look any further. Sign up today for Kids Bowl Free. Kids Bowl Free is a summer pass where your kids 15 and under receive 2 free games of bowling every day. You can also purchase a family pass that allows you to join in on the fun. Visit any of the 5 local Strike and Spare locations in Hendersonville, Donaldson, Hermitage, Tusculum, and Murfreesboro, or visit kidsbowlfree.com/Strike and Spare and sign up today. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
It's JB and the General.
Coach of the Vanderbilt baseball team, Tim Corbin.
You just got to see guys leave after 4 or 5 years that have thrust everything into your program. Yeah, it's difficult. I think it's why our program is a little bit different. It's why it's unique. It's why it's special. There's a family component to it that's very real that not everyone else has.
Weekdays 9 to 11, live on WNSR.
Okay, we are back. Let's get a final report from down at the Omni Hotel in downtown Dallas. Here is our Billy Jones. Billy, who's on tap tomorrow?
Yeah, it's an exciting day. I think the circus is really going to set in tomorrow. It's calm right now, but tomorrow with Texas and Alabama headlining, it's going to be an absolute zoo, here at the Omni. Florida and Mississippi State also coming tomorrow. Some interesting questions there. Mississippi State with a rookie head coach and Jeff Levy coming over. He was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma last year. Runs a very interesting scheme, very similar to kind of that Kiffin Heupel up-tempo, very spread out. Interesting to see what he can do with that state team next year. And then you also got Billy Napier, who, a lot of people are saying is on the hot seat and facing what, I think is by far the toughest schedule in college football.
Gosh, let's bring Kelly back in here. Kelly, when they hired Napier, I thought the thing would work, and I don't know what's going on, but it hasn't.
I did too, man. He did a really good job at Louisiana, Lafayette, and I don't know what's going on, George. We talked about it when he at Texas A&M last year. That that locker room thing went awry, and Jimbo Fisher just could not handle it. It kind of seems now. I'm not saying this is the case, but it seems like something, internally is happening there that he just can't pull out, because he's a really good coach. I've heard from Watson. Watson, our guy. I mean, he's a really good coach. He understands the game, but sometimes relationships with certain clubs just are not there, and for some reason he cannot. But I think he is on a hot seat, and if we get Doring on tomorrow, which we're expecting, which I know you're going to talk about, but if we get him, that's one of my first questions. I mean, because he's got to be on the hot seat. There's some guys on the hot seat, but he's got to be up there at the top of the list when you're talking about SEC coaches.
And I will say, there were some really bad results last year when you look at some of the games that they played, especially when you think about the Georgia game and the Utah game where they just weren't competitive. But, I mean, you look back to games against Missouri, they were in a position to win on the road. Arkansas was a game that they really had no business losing, just too many turnovers. They lost at home at overtime. Also against Florida State, had a 13-point lead in the first half, and they lose that one. So there were some games last year that were a little bit of a coin flip. And, if they could have just made one more stop or one more score, maybe we're having a completely different conversation about Billy Napier and this Gators team going into this year.
Yeah, but coaches have gotten fired in the past on shoulda, coulda, woulda. So is Bama first tomorrow?
Yes, Bama is in the morning alongside Mississippi State, and then the afternoon session, we'll see Florida and, of course, Texas. DeBoer will talk around 9:00, so we'll have some stuff from that, and I'll certainly have some tweets and quotes. So stay tuned for that. Should be interesting to hear what he has to say. How does he approach kind of the spotlight that's going to be on him? Because I'm sure people are going to be asking him about the Saban thing. I'm interested to see how he approaches that tomorrow, because that shadow not only looms large in Tuscaloosa, where Saban still has an office in that facility, but it's loomed large this week where he's been, a huge part of the SEC Network's coverage of this event.
Have y'all thought about, in his press conference, Saban is right there in the front row, and now he's speaking at media days, and he's right there in the room covering for I mean, he can't get out of the Saban shadow to save his life.
Look, not that anybody would be gutsy enough to do this, but I do wonder, Kelly, if Kalen DeBoer is going to have to pick up the phone at some point and say, look, you retired. I didn't force you to do this. Get the hell out of my business.
I just think that I think he's one of those old school guys. I don't think he's going to mess with Kalen DeBoer. I really don't. I think he's going to let him have his own program. That's just the way I see it.
Well, thank you. So I'll give you a little hint about tomorrow, Billy, too. Get ready for some goofballs to have what was the Tide detergent thing with the stick. You'll see some people doing that. You'll see people with elephant horns.
The Tide Pride Club.
I met one today who was trying to get me in with Saban, and I said, "Listen, sir, I barely got into this thing. There's no way I'm pulling Saban out for you. I apologize, sir, but I wish you well, obviously."
Well, let's do it this way. Kelly and I will just say it right now. You get Saban tomorrow, we're getting rid of Billy.
He's gone. Out.
Adios. Okay, Billy, real quickly. That's Billy Derrick. Let's get to the important stuff.
Bet of the day. Brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. And you're going All-Star Game.
You're darn tootin' I am. National League, baby. 2 in a row. Kelly, book it.
Gosh, that means the American League's got it cinched up, dude. Every time you book it this year, Hoss, they've lost.
Skeens is going to get it started good, and we are going to roll.
All right, we'll see.
Maybe not roll Tide, but we're going to roll. Tomorrow is going to be busy on this show. 2 of the heavyweights, Alabama and Texas. You're going to want to join us for wall-to-wall coverage. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, Kelly, behave.
See you, brother. I will. Always.
Billy 1, behave.
I'll try.
See all of you tomorrow.